Hello students, today we are going to start a journey of science subject of the class 8th, and the first chapter of the subject is crop production. It is the first chapter of unit food. Okay, before starting the chapter, I will give you some previews regarding what we will study in this chapter. Okay, and then we will continue with all the topics which are covered in this chapter. Okay, now in this chapter we will discuss about the practice of agriculture, which is not only used nowadays but it is keep on using from an ancient times. Okay, then we will study about types of crops, then we will study about how we can prepare the soil, then we will study about the manurings, then sowing, weeding, crop rotations, and finally storage of crops. We will study in this chapter. Now, let me give you some introduction. Food. Food is necessary for everyone. Every living being require foods. Even us require food, plants require foods, everyone require foods. So, plants. How do plants get their food? They make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. As you all know about the process of photosynthesis. Now, how do animals, including us, humans, get food? We get foods from plants also, we get food from animals also. Okay, so plants make their own food, humans and animals get foods from plants or either by animals. So, and if we grow this plants on a large scale for our consumption, for our food purposes, that plant is called crop. Okay, now we will start with our main heading, and the main topic is agriculture. Let me write down agriculture. This word agriculture is derived from a Latin word ager, that is, this word has come from ager. Ager means field. What does this word means? This word means field, and culture came from the word cultura, and this means cultivation. Okay, so field, culture. So in total the word agriculture means cultivation of field. Okay, are you clear? Around 10,000 BC, this practice of agriculture was started, and therefore many ancient civilization, that is ancient human civilization, were established, grow around river valleys, because agriculture needs water. So water is available near rivers, and so the civilization grew up around this river valley around 10,000 BCs. Okay, now steps to improve agricultural practices. Now, what is agricultural practices? Agricultural practices means the practices or the techniques which we adopt during the process of growing or planting a crop. And what is a crop? Crop is a plant of the same kind. Okay, let me write down what is crop. Crop. Plant of same kind which is grown on large scale. Okay, so a crop is a plant of same kind which is grown on large scale. So this is crop. So agricultural practices which are adopted for growing crops are listed in your books. Let me tell you all about these activities. Okay, first thing that help us in agriculture practices to get good crop yield is first, the crop field or the area where we are growing these crops should be open, okay, and it should have proper sunlight and air. That is, plenty of air should be there and plenty of sunlight should be there. So first thing is crop field should be open, plenty of air and sunlight. Okay, this is the first requirement of, or you can say the good thing during, or you can say like we can take these types of steps during agricultural practices. Second is the field should be protected from animals. Fields should be protected from animals and trespassers also. What are trespassers, students? Trespassers आपकी एरिया में अगर कोई इंसान आपकी परमिशन के बिना आता है, it can be an animal also, it can be a human also. If a person आपकी एरिया में, आपके घर में आपकी मर्जी के बिना आ रहा है, that person is a trespasser. Okay, so next thing is sowing. What is sowing? When we grow seeds in the soil. Before sowing, the soil should be plowed. What is? Let me write down. Before sowing, soil should be loosened and plowed. What is this plowing? Plowing means when we make the air loose, make the soil loose so that it becomes aerated and the growth of microorganism is possible. This process of loosening and overturning of soil is called plowing, and the soil which is plowed, where the plowing is done, is called plowed. Okay, why this plowed and why the soil should be loosened? Because the roots which go underground should have proper air for breathing and growing purposes. Okay, and so that, and also the plant get a good grip on the soil and they remain uprooted perfectly. The next thing, water. Proper amount of water should be there. Okay, because plants need water for growing purposes, so water should be there in plenty. Okay, soil should have sufficient nutrients. Nutrients like our body needs carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals. Similarly, plants also needs different types of nutrients. So they should be in plenty of amount or in sufficient quantity. Sufficient nutrients. Last, weeding. What is weeding? Weeding means unwanted and undesirable plants which are grown along with our crop is called weeds, and this weeding is the removal of these undesired plants and undesired and unwanted plants is called weeding. So, unwanted and undesirable plants should be removed. Okay, so this is all the practices, all the agricultural practices which helps to get a good crop yield. Okay, and also, you know, this method of sowing can be different types of we can do, and high yielding seeds, that is seed which gives us more quantity of crop can be used for agriculture practices. Okay, now this topic is completed. Steps to improve agricultural practices. The next heading is agriculture in ancient times. Let me wrap this and write down that heading for you. Now, what is ancient time? Ancient times when the people or our ancestors were there, and how they come into the practice of agriculture is going to be taught here, and you can discuss, and we will discuss about every aspect how our ancestor became farmers from hunters. You know, earlier our ancestors were hunters. They used to hunt animals, okay, and they used to eat raw meat, and this all habits changes as the practice of agriculture is adopted. So, let me write down the heading: agriculture in ancient times. Okay. Now, agriculture in ancient times. Students, man was a hunter till and gathered food gatherer. Like if a tree is growing and it has apples in it, so he used to go there and collect some apples. He wandered to some other place, and there he may see a tree of orange, then he will collect some oranges there. He went to another place and he saw some berries there, he will collect there. So he was a hunter and a food gatherer till 10,000 BC. After that, he used to wander around in search of food and shelter. His main food was considered of raw meat, fruits, vegetable, which he do not grow, okay? And hunted animals were the main source of food, and also many other articles, like, you know, they used to provide them with food to eat. Skins, the animal skin was used to make clothes for our ancestors or our earlier men's. And you know, these bones of that animals were used to make jewelries and also for weapons. So this was the trend in ancient times. Gradually, as the time improves, the human get to know the practice of agriculture in 10,000 BC. So they get to know about this agriculture practices. Then they used to learn, they learned to cultivate the land, and gradually the crops were grown. So they become farmers from hunters. Then gradually what did they do? The wild animals which were there, they tamed them, that is, they make them, you can say in Hindi, paltu, okay? They tame them and make them used for their purposes, like cows or ox or bulls were tamed, and then they were used to obtain milk and meat and use them as beast of burden. What is beast of burden? That is, suppose you have to carry a load of 10 kg or 20 kg. You cannot carry that much load. What did they do? They put that weight on a cow or on a buffalo or an ox, and they used to carry on that. So that's why these animals are also known as beast of burden, like horses, donkeys. These are beast of burdens. And as passage of times goes on, this agriculture practices which were adopted by our ancestor is very much changing nowadays. You know, technology has influenced so much on agriculture also. You know, like nowadays we do not use a bull with a hull. You know, our ancestor used to, if you have seen an old movie, they used to have cows and they had bulls and they has to have a hull there. Hull is a plowing machine, okay? You can say a plower, okay? And in Hindi it's called hull. So it's a plower were used, but nowadays tractors are used, tractor-driven harvester, cultivators are there. So these types of technology is also implementing on our agricultural practices also. Okay, now the next heading, types of crops based on products. Okay, types of crops that are based on products, that is the products that is derived from the plant or from the yield of the crop. Okay, now cereals. What are cereals? Cereals are like wheat, rice, maize, oats, barley, bajra, jowar, etc. Okay, these are all cereals. Pulses. Pulses, you all eat dals, so pulses are dals. Grams, peas, soya bean, lentils, moong, etc. You can say anything like in pulses. Fruits. Okay, I don't have to tell you what are fruits in Hindi. It's, yes, bananas, plums, mangoes, watermelon, everything. Okay, it comes under the category of fruits. So a product, on the basis of product, a fruit is the classification, and what are fruits? Banana, mango, apples. Okay, vegetables, onion, potato, spinach, cabbage, cauliflower. These all are vegetables. Okay, spices. You know, suppose your mom is only making you a vegetable and only a boiled vegetable is there and not even a salt is added. Will you be able to eat that vegetable? So spice is a product and it's a very flavorful product which gives taste to our food. So spices are there, and spices consist of turmeric, ginger, clove, coriander, cardamom. Cardamom is elaichi, okay? Pepper, saffron. Okay, these are all come into the category of spices. Beverages, okay? Your mother, your father, you may used to drink tea and coffee, and you all love cocos. Cocos are made of, you can have cocoa milks or you can have chocolates also of cocos. Okay, so these come under the category of beverages. Sugar, sugar cane and sugar beet. Okay, fibrous crop like cotton, jute, flax, hemp. These are made for, our clothes are also made, and different bags are also made of these fibrous crop. Timber plants. What are timber plants? Timber plants provide us with wood like teak, mahogany, shisham, oak, etc. All the furniture that is available to you are made up of wood, and this wood comes from timber plants, and timber plants are of type teak, mahogany, shisham, oak, etc. Okay, they have very strong wood. Therefore, we use these trees for making furniture for timbers. You know, you have medicinal plants also. Many plants have medicinal values also, like mint, deadly nightshade, belladonna, cinchona, isabel, opium, poppy, rose, etc. These all are, you know, medicinal plants. You know, I'm going to tell you one interesting thing also. This opium and poppy, they are very dangerous to our health also, because you can get addicted to this. So they are very, you know, doctor has to prescribe them in a very limited amount, and only certain pharmacist, a person who sell medicine can give this to you, who has a certified license of a proper institute authorized by government. Okay, you know, if you are growing fruits, vegetables or a plant for ornamental purposes, this all is called horticulture. So what is horticulture? If a plant is growing, the culture of growing fruits, vegetables, flowers and ornamental plants is called horticulture. Now, types of crops, this were based on products, different types of products were there. Now, types of crops based on season. Let me write down. Types of crops based on season. Not like our winter, summer, not like this. Seasons which are related to our agricultural practices. There are three types of crops based on seasons. First is Rabi crop. What are Rabi crops? The crops which are sown in November and harvested in April. Okay, these are called Rabi crops. That is, which are sown in November and harvested in April are called Rabi crops. The examples of Rabi crops are wheat, gram, pea, barley, mustard, etc. Okay. Now, second types of crops are Kharif crops. We will study about this in detail in further classes also, you know. What are Kharif crops? These are sown in June and harvested in October. And the example of Kharif crops are bajra, cotton, maize, groundnuts. Okay, these are examples of Kharif crops. Now, third, there is third season also there, and the name of the season is Zaid crops. You know what is Zaid crops, or when we sow the plants here? Between Rabi crops and Kharif crops, there is short period of time when we grow this Zaid crops. Okay, so this short season comes under the category from March to June and July, when we sow the plants in the March and it is harvested in June and July. You know what are the crops related to Zaid crops? What are the examples of Zaid crops? Watermelon. This is grown in March and you get in June and July, that's it. Okay. Furthermore, I am just going to tell you other crops of this. Pumpkin is grown as a Zaid crop. And the example, mushrooms. Okay, so these are example of Zaid crops. Cucumber is also a Zaid crop. You know, this different types of crops are there. But I'm going to tell you one more thing. You were like, ma'am, we get cucumber throughout the year. We get watermelon. Some of you if you live in an urban area, you can get watermelon also throughout the year. So how come we get this pumpkin, this cucumber throughout the year? Because of cold storage. We will discuss this about in our chapter as it gradually increases. Now, we will discuss about some agricultural practices. There are different agricultural practices which are start from cultivation of plant, that is when the soil is prepared, to the harvesting of crop is called agricultural practices. Okay. So what are agricultural practices? Different activities which are involved in the cultivation of plant from sowing to harvesting is called agricultural practices. Now, there are 7 agricultural practices. First, preparing the soil. Second, manuring. Third, sowing of seeds. Fourth, irrigation. Fifth, weeding and crop protection. Sixth, harvesting, and the last 7th is storage of grains. We will discuss each and every point in detail. Now, today we will discuss about preparing the soil and manuring. What is preparing the soil? Let me write down the heading first. preparing the soil. What is preparing the soil? That I have told you about plowing. It's come in the category of preparing the soil. You know, plants need a medium to grow, and this medium is soil. So this soil, you know, has a very, it's a mixture. It has sand in it, it has clay in it, it has decayed leaves in it, and various amount of moisture may be there, or air may be there, bacteria are there, earthworms are there. So this all combines soil. Okay, now plants needs moisture. Some plants may need more moisture, some plants may need less moisture. Nutrients are required by the plants to make food. So different types of things are required for the plants. And this preparing the soil is the first and foremost important thing in our agriculture practices for growing crops. First step is plowing. What is plowing? It is the process of loosening. Let me write down. Plowing. Plowing. What is plowing? Plowing is a process of loosening and overturning of soil so as to make it aerate. What is aeration? Aeration means to make it full of air. Okay, and make it suitable for the growth of microorganism so that the agriculture can be done there. It is called plowing, or it is also called as tilling. What is this called? Tilling. Okay, tilling. Now, the benefits of plowing are, it allows the roots, the plant's root, to penetrate deep into the soil. It helps the plants to breathe, that the roots of the plant to breathe properly. It also gives air to the farmer's friend. What are farmer's friend? The earthworms and the microorganisms which are grown in the earth's soil are called farmer's friend. So they provide the oxygen to these farmer's friends also. Fourth, like the soil particles which trap air, helps to get the grip on the plants also. Now we will discuss different equipments which are used for plowing. You can use a plower. As you can see the image photo given in your books for plower. This plower has two parts. It has a plower share and it has a plower shaft. This plower share is a triangular metal object which has iron strip on it. Now this plower shaft is a long rod on it. Okay, so this plower has two ends on it. One end has this whole system of plower share and plower shaft in it, and another is connected to a beam which is put on the neck of bulls, and this is used for plowing. You can use a hoe also, a cultivator also, and a leveler also. What is hoe? Hoe is a long rod, and it on the corner of one end it has big iron blade on it, and it works as a blade and it cuts the soil, and it is done by using an animal. Cultivator is a machine which is used for the purpose of plowing. Leveler, when you have lumps of soil in it, this leveler is used and the soil is broken down with the help of leveler. Okay, now the next topic is manuring.